Want to freak out the Jiu-Jitsu community? Tell them you believe in testing in Jiu-Jitsu. Guys, my name is Bill Jones. I'm the head instructor of top-level martial arts in beautiful downtown Cuyahoga Falls. I'm a black belt under Master Pedro Sauer. You're watching Professor's Corner. Hey, do me a favor as we go through the video. I want to know, did you test for any of your ranks? Did you test for anything, or did you maybe just have a hard roll? Let me know how your instructor did your promotions. I'm really interested. I'm a student of pedagogy, a student of teaching, and so any methods of teaching they excite me. So I want to know what your instructors did to get you promoted. But I'm going to explain the idea of testing in Jiu-Jitsu and how it's not that big a deal, and like why I think that it's a good thing and not a bad thing. First, I'll start with why people tend to think that testing is a bad thing. The only reason I've ever heard that people say that testing is a bad thing is because they feel that it's a money-making scheme, and I'll put that in quotes. And I think that that's a very unfair thing to say, because not everybody charges for testing. So how's it a money-making scheme if you're not making money off it? Moreover, the other argument I hear is, well, I train with my students every single day, so I know what they know. I just know where they're at, and therefore I can just throw a belt at their head and tell them that they're promoted, and we're done. And I think that there's some truth to that. I've seen that, and I've actually done that in 3 different occasions with people that I trained with a lot, and they didn't have the chance to test. One was a military guy. He was moving to Oman, like on the other side of the world, so he wasn't going to be around to test. Another one was a younger guy who wasn't going to be able to make it to the test, and the third was another military guy, similar situation. And so I just promoted him. I just said, hey, this is where I think you are. But I trained with them a lot, so I did know where they were. I did know what they knew and what they didn't know, and I gave them recommendations on what they should work on. And I did explain to them, normally I test people, so this is not a normal thing. Don't expect to get other ranks this way necessarily, and they were very appreciative. But why do I believe in testing? Well, I have 2 college degrees. I have one in nuclear medicine technology, one in exercise science, and I've never been to any any type of learning. I've never done any learning or earned any certification of any kind where testing wasn't a requirement. For exercise physiology, I went on and earned my certification as a National Strength Conditioning Association certified strength conditioning specialist, and I had to test for that. There were a lot of requirements. I had to have a lot of hands-on training. I had to have the education, and then I had to take a certification exam. Doctors, they test. They have to take tests. They don't just go through med school and then they're a doctor. They go through med school, then they get certified, and they test. There's a lot of things that are important. And when we're talking about teaching things to people that could potentially save their lives, and I mean literally save their lives, right? If they get in a fight or a bad situation, I want to know that they're doing it right. And the way to do that is to watch them during a test under a little bit of extra pressure and see exactly what they're doing. Now, I think another argument against testing is just regurgitating moves, and anybody can do that. And I agree 100%. But that's not how we test. So that's a superfluous statement. My tests have 3 components. They have a technical component where I watch people literally just do moves, and I would rather watch them do them slow, because I want to see what details they're adding into their moves to make them effective. Because if you can't do it slow, you're not going to be able to do it fast. So I want to see those little details, the little minutia that are the difference between good and great, right? Like, are they lifting their hips high enough on a triangle, or are they just getting away with having strong legs? And the only way you're going to see that consistently is if they do it nice and slow for you in a demonstration format. So that's important to me. But that can't be the only part of the test, because you're right. Anybody can just regurgitate moves. They can just say, okay, I need to know moves A through Z, and I'll be able to test for my belt. No, that's not enough. So the second part of it is self-defense. And when I say self-defense, I don't mean, okay, I grab your shirt, and then you do this wrist lock and take me down. Certainly that could be part of it. But what I mean is they start to roll and they start to train, and they're allowed to get hit. And so you've got to train in a way that doesn't let you get beat up. You've got to roll in a way that you're not getting beat up. And that's something that I think a lot of places are missing. And it can just be open hand slaps. You don't have to be busting skulls because, man, people got to work the next day. I get that. They don't want to go to work with black eyes and stuff. But if you're rolling, and you see the chance to just tap them on the head, just be like, boom, 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 boom. And they're like, oh, crap. They have to know that they're not in a good situation. They have to understand that, and that they need to adjust their positioning accordingly. So that's part 2 of the test. And part 3 is just straight up rolling and takedown work. I make them do a lot of what I'll call randori, standing up takedown work. And we're not a judo school, so I'm sure that the quality of takedown isn't the same as a judo school or as a wrestling, a college wrestling facility. But the takedowns are pretty good, and it's because we actually train them. So I watch them do takedown work and then takedowns into rolling and just the whole gamut. And why is that important? Why can't I just do that with them when I think they're ready and see where they are and then promote them then? Well, I think the biggest reason is if you're going to run an association, if you're going to have a lot of students, you have to have a standardized method of doing this, because I'm a very fortunate person. In my school, we have almost 300 members, and there's no way with 25 adult classes and 30 kids classes throughout the week, I simply don't have the bandwidth to be at every single class and see every single person every single time. There are literally members of my school who I haven't met. They come on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturday mornings when I'm not there, as opposed to Monday morning, Monday night, and all the other times that I am there, Wednesdays and Fridays and all that stuff. And if they come to those classes and they miss me and they don't get to see me, I don't think it's fair that I make them wait until force them to change their schedule. Maybe they got family situations or work situations. Force them to change their schedule just to come see me so they can get promoted. I don't think that's a fair thing to request. So that's why I have to have testing. The number of people, maintaining a high level of quality in the way things are taught. And I'll address this too. It's something I hear. It's like, if they know how to do an arm bar, why do they have to do that arm bar? Because they have to do something, right? They have to show me something. And as long as I make it a standardized arm bar, then everybody will show me the same thing, and it makes testing go faster. It makes it more smooth. Whereas if one person's showing me an arm bar from closed guard, and another person's showing me an arm bar from spider guard, and another person's showing me an arm bar from lasso guard, then I have to sit there and adjust my mindset every single time. Oh, this is from lasso. This is from spider. Okay, got it. Oh, he's doing it from the scissor position. Got it. It's easier when you have a standardized method. And that doesn't mean that's all they're going to learn. There's 88 techniques that people in my academy and the Pedro Sauer Association in general are required to know that go from white belt to blue belt. They're required to demonstrate. That's a better way to say it. But they're going to know way more than that. I mean, you're going to train for a year and a half, 2 years before you get your blue belt. You're going to know more than 88 moves. You're going to know a lot of moves. But those are the 88 what we consider fundamental techniques. Things like escaping the mount. They have to show their elbow escape. They have to show their upa. Things like escaping side control. You have to show us, how to regain guard from there. So they're fundamental moves: arm bars, rear naked chokes, sliding collar chokes, things like that. Things that everybody who's training should know. And then let's be honest, if you're really paying attention in jiu-jitsu, a sliding collar choke is the same whether you set it up from side control and then sneakily, maybe you get your grip early, or maybe you sweep straight into it to take the back. It's the same regardless of how you get there. The finish is always the same. Same thing with an armbar. I might start it from a lasso guard. I might do a crazy, Granby roll through to end up, into a triangle and then switch it over to an armbar. But the mechanics of finishing an armbar are the same. So that's why I like to look at a fundamental basic version, because that's what I really care about is, does this person understand the mechanics that are required to finish this technique? Or are they just getting lucky? And you know those people. You know them. You know the guys who are just really strong and can just literally just bend your arm over their thigh, and they're like, you're going to tap because your arm's going to break. But is it a good, true, mechanically correct armbar? Or is it something that they can do when they're 95? And that's really what I want. I want jiu-jitsu I can do when I'm 95. So if that's the case, the mechanics have to be correct. And I need a standardized method of judging that. Now, I will say this. This is my last word on the subject, and let me know if you agree with this. The idea of not testing is as foreign to me as the idea of testing is to people who don't test. And I accept that. I understand that there's people out there who simply will not accept that there's testing out in jiu-jitsu, and they don't think it's ever necessary, or they think it's weak sauce or whatever. And that's fine. You're allowed to think that. Good news. I don't think you're wrong. I just don't happen to think the same way as you. Like, I have a different goal, a different mindset. And that doesn't make me right and you wrong. And it doesn't make you right either. So both, have come up with some really good jiu-jitsu people. Gracie Baja, Pedro Sauer Association, Valenci Brothers. They all test people, and they all have very good jiu-jitsu skilled people. They all have testing. There's a lot that don't, and they have some very skilled jiu-jitsu people. So, I think that something can be said for each, and I think there's a place for each, because some people do better in different situations, right? Some people just suck at testing. You've met that person. They suck at it. But you get them out on the mat and they can just roll like forever, and they're really good. And I think that a person like that feels better and more comfortable in their training environment. So there's a lot of value to having both methods out there. So that's the way I see it, guys. Listen, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor, leave those likes, those comments. It helps a lot. Did you test? I want to know. I'll talk to you later.